I don't think we've been that far off it. I think we're going to focus in on kind of, well, let's just do this a different way. Colorado presents a really unique game in some of their speed and their transition game. Um, in order to compete there are certain things you can't do to have success, and you can't turn pucks over into the middle of the ice. And we saw an awful lot of that in the Chicago game. It's really not part of what we do. So that piece has to get eliminated. I think there's also some support areas in our game that we can play faster if we can change a couple of things. But in each of the last 2 years, any time that we've had a stretch like this, it's been really important for us. It's been really, at the end of it, it looked really good for us. We won 3 of 12 games in March last year and came out of a pretty good team. So you don't like it. You don't sleep very good. You're in a bad mood all the time. But you also know this is the important time. This is the critical piece, to not focus in on one area of game and get it to be elite, and then you get to keep it.
Some of the changes we saw out there today,
yeah.
Were those change for change sake energy things, or are you trying to match the speed?
I would say there's some both to it. You don't have to leave. Are you all right? Do you need medical? We'll get some medical. The change, the opportunity is there because of the opponent. So they present a certain thing. There's 2 really powerful lines there. A little more defensive structure maybe in our top 6 could be an important thing. I think Carter Verhaeghe is working his butt off, like absolutely all over it, and it's just not going for him. And I flipped him with Barkov and Bennett almost exclusively over the first 2 years, and that worked quickly. And also in part because, 2 years ago, A2 had just come off the 4th line and had a brand new game, and Lundy was still learning. Like, we're working on those guys' games, and even for Anton, it was almost at the back half of last year where we felt his game really changed. So I've got these Lusteron and Lundell now are completely different players, which gives me another option. So I'd like to see what Lusty looks like with Benny and Matthew. I'd like to see that. We did it 2 years ago. We liked it. But Lusty was kind of didn't have his own game yet. He was still deferring to those 2 guys. He wasn't defined. I know what Lusty is now, and I think he does too. So if he plays that game, that could be really good for those guys. And then Carter needs a change. That is just a change. So look, you're not. Usually when a guy is struggling a little bit, he's not working nearly as hard as he thinks he is. Like he's gone away from his game and he's trying a bunch of different things. He's away from the puck. This guy's trying. He's all over it, man. It's just not going for him. So that guy needs a change. Just a little bit of a different center iceman, a different winger, and then especially veteran guys, can kind of hone back in on their game.
And no sec. Is there something?
Yeah, no, there's like 5 guys there. I think I really liked. This will be a long answer. I love what Gadge did in the Jersey series, and then I held him out just kind of precautionary. And Mackey came in and played his best game of the year. And then I wanted Gadge back in the lineup because of what he had done, and I want him part of it. So I think there's 5 guys there that we may rotate in and out a little bit, as long as we stay healthy. You just never do. This is more unique than, usually I don't have these decisions. So I'm going to move those guys in and out a little bit. I think Bo, we liked him at center when we played him there. A little speed on that 4th line at center. This is a very, very fast team. Very fast. So it's the original answer is you're right on both. It's opponent based, but we were looking for a change.
I mean, you talked about it for about a month, saying that you wanted to see more of a better defensive plan in that second line. I know you touched on it a little bit, but I mean, what does that to kind of do to help alleviate the problems that second line has had?
Well, he has an ability to stop and knock down pucks, but so does Carter. It's a different style. He's a penalty killer, right? So part of the reason is his brain is wired to see that, to make the adjustments, to move quickly on the defensive side of the puck. He's heavy on the walls, and he plays a simpler offensive game. So he's not trying to make some plays that we want Carter to make. He has the ability to make those plays. So it's just physically a little bigger body, a little heavier. When you look at the structure of that second line, they got some size on it now. That's the style of the game he plays.
Well, we weren't there in Chicago, but you put Aaron Ekblad back on power
Yeah.
play 1. What did you see?
Right hand shot. It's
Okay.
where the if you put a lefty up there, it has a tendency to work more on the other side of the ice, and we don't like that as much. We like it on the Barkov side. The right-handed shot, puck stays on that side a little bit more.
Keep it that way for a bit to see it work.
Well, I don't like flipping guys in and out on the power play because it takes some time to get into a rhythm. So we'll give it a run. I mean, if it's clearly not working, we'll make an adjustment, but he's run it before. They had a completely different set of guys when he ran it before. So this is a new group because the guys that were there are gone. This is a new group. He's never run this top, and they have a pretty defined way that they like to look at it.
Did you get a look at Adam tonight there?
Possibly.
Or at least on two?
Possibly, yes. Yes, because Nate's out.
Because Nate, right, of course.
Yes.
And trying to get him back in, 10 straight.
Yeah.
You have a conversation with him because he is new to
2 or 3.
Okay.
Fairly regularly. There's also not a lot to say. The thing about this was, this conversation just doesn't pop up after it. We're talking about it before Chicago. But you almost don't learn as much. I'm not trying to, but you'll learn something here tonight because this is as fast a team as you're going to face for the most part. So you want to, when he's been out a while, that's tough. It's also the job. But what a great opportunity to come in and be good against that team. Then that means something. You can kind of hang your hat on that.
Do you think with him and Ubis that give you a little more speed?
Well, we'll rotate them through, but there's some puck movement. We had quite a bit of offense die at the offensive line against Chicago. We need to get some more pucks through, so we think he can do that.
And Ubis and Schmidt have been so good.
Yeah.
Not giving anything up. Do you feel like maybe you're giving a little something up,
Well, I hope not. I mean, we hope not. And that's the opportunity that's there. If we don't, then we got a puck mover, a guy who can get the puck through and hold the line and do all the hard things. That's the opportunity that's there for Adam.
You talk about speed. Just how unique a challenge is defending Cale Makar? Obviously, just one of those unique generational type players back there.
Most times, if your neutral zone defense or your rush defense is good, defensemen will then move the puck, defer, not try to get into that hole. But he can. So even if you're right on whether you're running a trap or a wing lock, he's going to get through you because of that extreme speed. And then in the offensive zone, he's going to pull that puck across the line. He's going to generate 2 feet. He's going to open the ice 2 feet for the people around him because there's not a lot of guys like that can do that. It's just that ability. So that means you have to play a little more inside. Their zone time numbers are off the charts, right? Their offensive zone is the best in the league. There's them in Edmonton. There's a reason for that. Those guys, even if you're right, will create a lane. They'll just beat you with that speed. So the adjustment the teams will make is they'll pack a little tighter to the house. This is all geometry, right? If you're chasing a guy when you're on his hip, you got to match him step for step. If you're 10 feet inside him, you don't have to match that, right? You stay inside it. That creates greater zone time for their team. That's why their numbers are as big as they are.
You got a little bit of a taste with Verhaeghe next to Lundell during the playoffs last year during the Tampa series. I mean, how comfortable did that make you in helping make that decision?
All of that plays into it. The bigger part of it is that Anton Lundell's a different player than he's been at any point in his career now because of maturity. So there might be something here that we love. The idea that you could have Carter Verhaeghe play in the 3-hole, that could be pretty exciting because you're still going to have to play against Bennett, and you're still going to have to play against Barkov, so you're not getting the 1-2 anymore, and that guy spent most of his career playing against the 1-2 defenders. So there's something there. We're hopeful.
Evan Rodriguez has played with some pretty elite line mates
Yeah.
over the course of his career, and that includes Nathan McKinnon. What is it about his skill set that's allowed him to play with some of the league's best?
I think Evan Rodriguez's strength is that he's got enough hands to make plays that he can, the other guys aren't coming to the bench going, we got to get me somebody to get me the puck, right? Like, he's got enough heads. But it's actually his defensive reads. So he gets on pucks and above pucks, and he's quick to read the defensive part of the game. And there is a bit of, so the word, it's either cheat or anticipation that you apply to all great players, right? If they're really great, they anticipate. If they're just under that, they cheat. You need somebody there that can kind of service that idea. They can make enough plays, but when he's on his game, and I think he has been, he's not cheating for any offense. He's on the right side of it, and it helps those guys play a little bit.
Thank you.
All right, everybody.
Goaltender.
Bob.
Sergey?
Yes, sir.